The next candidates we have coming up are candidates that are running for House District 35. House District 35 consists of the northwest portion of Cobb County, which covers parts of Ackworth and Kennesaw. The candidates that we have is Salvadore Castallana and Kyle Ridnow. Rinaudo, sorry. You got it. Kyle Rinaudo. So we'll start off with opening statements, gentlemen, and we'll start with you, Mr. Castellano.
All right, thank you, Dr. Owens. Thank you, Cobb Chamber, for this meeting. My name is Salvatore Castallana, and I'm running for House Seat 35 in North Cobb County. I'm a native Georgian, born and raised in Atlanta. I'm a former restaurant owner of 2 restaurants. My daughter is a school teacher in Carroll County, Georgia. And like everyone here tonight, I want to see change. And I have canvassed my area, talked with different people, and they won't change also. But there's a problem I've encountered lately that some people tell me there's not much difference between the 2 parties. And CNN poll came out today that said 34% of the people polled said there is no difference who runs Congress. Things will stay the same. And as Democrats, we need to let them know that there is a big difference. There are 4 issues that I stand on and strong democratic principles. First of all, every student who wants a technical school education we need to make it free for them. The Hope Scholarship is a merit-based program, but we also need to have a need-based program. Number 2, medical cannabis should be legally cultivated in our state. Recently, the legislature approved more conditions for the oil, but there's a problem with that. We have state laws that say you can't grow it, and federal laws that say you can't bring it across state lines. Number 3, we need to expand Medicaid in the state. Georgia is now in the bottom 5 of states with the most uninsured citizens. We are at around 13%. We have had 6 rural hospitals closed since 2013, and more are getting ready to, and this is unacceptable. Number 4, common sense gun law policies. Florida just became the 6th state to enact a red flag law. And the red flag law gives law enforcement the ability to remove guns out of a home where there has been a person reported to be a threat to themselves or other people. They go before a judge. Within 2 weeks, a judge can give the guns back or keep them from the person. If that law would have been in effect at the beginning of this year, the Parkland High School shootings would have never happened, probably. And I know the Republicans are going to say, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to pay for the free college and the medical needs? Well, for one, if we were to expand Medicaid, according to the Georgia Budget and Policy Institute, over 12,000 jobs would be created and over $1 billion in new economic activity just by expanding Medicaid. Not to mention those hospitals that closed over the last 5 years would be open today. And if we really want to find money to pay for education and health care, we should look at the tax breaks we're giving. Casey Cagle likes to brag at his TV ads that he doubled the personal exemption, but he doesn't mention that he gave a $300 million tax break to the insurance companies in Georgia. And that money could be used for the free education.
Thank you, Mr. Castellano. Mr. Rinaudo, your opening statement, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Thank you, Dr. Owens. And earlier we were joking about pronouncing my name. A lot of people pronounce it Ridno, Rinaudo, Rinaldo, and I take it as a great compliment that you think I'm just as attractive as Cristiano Ronaldo. I appreciate that. My name is Kyle Rinaudo. Since January 3rd, I've been running for State House of Representatives in District 35, which is Ackworth and Kennesaw. The way I like to describe it to people is that we're at North Cobb High School, Allatoona High School, and Kennesaw Mountain High School District. So it's very convenient that my 2 brothers and I, between us, went to all 3 of those high schools. We know the community very well. I graduated from North Cobb High School back in the faraway year of 2014. My mother actually graduated from North Cobb High School 30 years to the day in 1984 before me, so we've lived here quite a long time. And in that time, I think it's fair to say that all of us have seen Ackworth, Kennesaw, and Cobb County change quite a bit. Most frequently in the last couple of years, I see a new district in District 35. I see new people, young people getting out and getting engaged in politics, and our representatives aren't reflecting that. I decided to run this year because I thought my generation, my community, and my family deserved representation which fought for our values and fought for our interests. There's 3 big points that I'm emphasizing this year, and they all conveniently start with R, which is the first letter of my last name. We have to react to the policies we see in Georgia now, provide relief for Georgia families who aren't seeing it from our current representatives, and re-engage our community in politics. React, we have to say no to the things that Republicans are proposing these days. Religious freedom, which allows discrimination, cutting funding from public schools and healthcare. We have to say no. We have to stand up for the values that welcome more people. We have to provide relief for families. This means raising wages. This means fighting for small businesses in our community and not passing legislation which is unwelcoming to other Georgians. And finally, we have to re-engage. If there's one core tenet of my candidacy, is that we really want to re-engage with new voters in this district to encourage people to participate in the electoral process. Now, I'm the first to admit I'm not your traditional candidate. I'm 22 years old, which makes me the youngest candidate in the state. And my message to all the young people in my district and all the young people, if you're watching right now, is that if I can run for office at 22, surely you can get out there and vote, you can become educated on the issues, and you can use your voice to make a change. That's why I'm running for District 35. I hope to have your vote. And it's been the time of my life getting to know more people in district, listening to their concerns, and fighting for them in January 2019 as your state representative. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Kyle. All right, so we'll go into the first questions, and the first one is one that has to deal with the state or the district you guys are running in, District 35. Upon doing some research and looking back, as most of us do when you're looking at running for office, I found that the current representative, which is Republican, has not had a challenge or has been unopposed for at least the past 3 or 4 cycles. What do you think you could do specifically to unseat the current Republican representative, and why should it be you? Mr. Castallana, you first.
Okay, thank you for the question, Michael. In this last election, Hillary Clinton won our district. And since he hasn't had a challenger in 2 cycles, I believe that what we stand for is what the people in our area stand for. The people I've talked to say they're looking for expansion of Medicaid, they're looking for answers to traffic, they're looking for medical marijuana to be, cannabis to be legalized, and they want to change. I see it. And you know, unfortunately, nobody's ran against the current representative, but now we're going to give them a shot.
Thank you. Mr. Rinaudo, same question to you, sir.
Yeah, and it's really the only question, right? And it's the reason that I initially decided to run, is that our current representative is an incumbent politician who's been in office for the past 15 years. And it's about time, I think, that we see a change in our district. So what am I going to do to make that happen? First of all, I think it's a great sign that we have not 1 Democrat, but 2 running for this district and this seat. That's a really great sign that the activity, the energy is here in our district to really make a change in our district and fight for progressive values. But the other thing that I'm going to do, and again, not to be a broken record, but it's engage new voters. It's engage the young people who have been ignored in the district too long. It's to engage the moms, the teachers who the current representative seems to not want to represent. And we need to engage new minority communities in our district. I was so glad to hear Representative Thomas earlier say that Español es importante en nuestra comunidad. Y estoy completamente de acuerdo. Necesitamos hablar con los constituyentes de nuestro distrito y promover soluciones para nuestro distrito, para mejorar nuestra economía y proteger los valores de nuestras familias. And so for me, we can talk to different people. And that's what I'm going to do. That's the different type of representation that I provide for this community. And that's why I think we can run and win in November.
Gracias.
De nada, señor. Estoy muy contento de estar aquí.
Todo en español? I don't think so. I have this in English for today, but for our Spanish speakers, it may be something in the future for us to consider. Next question, and I think Mr. Castallana brought it up. This is a very important question that's going on in the House of Representatives today, and is: do you support the legalization of marijuana, both for medicinal and recreation use? Kyle, will go to you for that question first.
Yeah, and I think it's a no-brainer for Democratic candidates, and it should be a no-brainer for all candidates. It's not even a recreational issue, it's a civil rights issue, and it's a healthcare issue. Veterans in the state of Georgia right now who could benefit from cannabis oil treatments are not able to get it because the state legislature hasn't had the boldness to pass these sorts of things. People who need treatments for that can be solved with medical marijuana don't have access to it because we don't allow the cultivation here. And we also know that the folks who are most affected detrimentally by the current drug laws that we have, the marijuana laws, are those who are minorities, are those who don't have the voice and representation in our legislatures, in our government. So it's a civil rights issue. And that's why what we need to do is really take a hard look at reforming our criminal justice system, reforming the system that we have in place to punish people for really low-level crimes. And that's why I think, yes, it's definitely very important that we take a hard look at that.
Thank you. Mr. Castallana, same question.
Absolutely. Yes, we need to legalize it. You have to wonder, I read the other day that $600 million in tax breaks were given to the pharmaceutical companies in this current budget year. And you have to wonder, why have we not legalized cultivation? And you have to look at that. Is there a quid pro quo there going on there, or what? These pharmaceutical companies seem to be against it. And it would help so many people. We have people suffering from seizures, PTSD, and it's a no-brainer. I just can't. They just just started a advisory board study. I don't know why we need to study it. The proof is there. Georgia State just came out with a study that it does work. It helps people, and it, like Kyle said, it's a civil rights issue. It's an independent choice, freedom of choice, and I'm all for it.
Thank you. Mr. Castallana, I'm going to stay with you. Being that our state legislature is only a 40-day session as a part-time legislature, but we know the needs of the citizens is 365 days. What do you view the most important role outside of those 40 days that we have session as a state representative?
Well, the biggest problem is that people are not engaged. And the reason they're not engaged, I found out, is that they don't know where to go to find the information. I mean, sure, we can go on the web and find out how our legislator voted, but it would be so nice if our current legislator would be out there talking to the people. I have probably spoken to at least 1,200 people in the last few weeks, and I've only found 2 people who knew who the state representative was. What I would do differently is have my own website and let them know weekly exactly what is going on, what kind of votes are taking place, get them engaged, have a meeting at the local sandwich shop, advertise it, get people to come out and talk, give their opinion, and we can discuss the issues together.
Thank you. Kyle, your response.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think the number one role of this position is to be a voice for the community and to be the link, really, I think, between the state government and the people who live in our district. Our current representative has a bit of a spotty record on this. Just a few weeks ago, when the March for Our Lives was going on March 24th, and when the student leaders of Georgia, the student leaders of Parkland, Florida, those kids who are younger than me, were fighting to make a change, they went to the Georgia Capitol building and said, we want to speak to our representatives. They proposed solutions to these different representatives, and my current representative declined to even meet with them. We have to do a better job of that. And not just during the legislative session, you're absolutely right. We need to do a better job of that year-round. I look forward to doing that because I already do that. I think if you ask anybody who knows me in the community, or if you ask my family and my friends and folks who have worked with me in the past, they'll tell you that I already make an effort, that it is genuinely important to me that we educate people on the issues, that it is important to me that we have people go out and vote. And my number one message to people is, even if you don't vote for me, get out there, vote on May 22nd, learn the positions of what's going on. That's what I would do as state representative as well.
Thank you. And we are drawing close on our time here, so we're going to go ahead and move into our closing statements. So with that, Kyle, would you lead us into your closing statement, please?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for coming out here, especially those of you who have stayed so long until about 9 o'clock p.m. I mean, goodness gracious, God bless you for even being here. If you're watching on TV, God bless you even more that you're taking time out of your Wednesday night in order to participate in democracy. I think that's incredible. I think it's something we have to encourage more people to do. And I'm so grateful that you're watching, especially my parents. I know my parents are watching, so hello to them. I think just the last thing I would like to say is to think about coming out and voting on May 22nd, voting to make a difference, voting for someone new, voting to make a change. There are all sorts of new candidates in the race, and we are all so excited that we have so many Democrats running for office in November. And no matter what happens on May 22nd, we're going to band together, we're going to support democratic and progressive causes because it is so, so important to do that. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Kyle Rinaudo. You can find me online. We'd love to have your help canvassing. We're going to be continuing to do lots of work in that area. We'd love to have your vote, but more than that, we're so grateful that you're engaged. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming out, and just like Kyle said, staying here for 2 hours, that shows you're committed. I'm looking forward to getting out there and meeting more people. This has been a truly amazing run, and like Kyle said, we need to support the progressives, support the Democrats. I know last time there was a primary in our area, it was like 15% turnout. We need to see at least 50%, just like in a general election. But with all the Democrats on the ballot, hopefully we'll get more people out there. My name's Salvadore Castallana. You can find me at castallanaforgeorgia.com. And thank you once again.
Thank you, both gentlemen. I do appreciate it.